Hello guys, it's Jim3rd here doing another Bottleman video. This time we're doing the third of the 4 Bottleman ranking videos based on type. Today we're ranking every control type. Just to reiterate, I am ranking these based on kind of how well they fit into the control archetype, not necessarily how good they are, and of course, I have done rankings on both the prototype and DX lines already, and also for Godcap stuff have the unboxings up, so if you want to reference anything there you go. But anyway, getting into the list. Number 10, I would say probably the most worthless control type. It's not like that bad really. I feel like every control type actually does have some merit to it, but this one's just a little bit weird, and that is CC Lan. I feel like CC Lan just doesn't have much going for it. Like, there isn't really a good, like, this isn't a good sight up here. And like the whole turn gimmick, I know I'm not really taking into account necessarily how good these things are, but this turn gimmick just doesn't work well. Like, okay, you turn to get like different angles, cool, but then it like falls off a thing like all the time. This gimmick wasn't really great from the start, and it wouldn't have ranked that high, but because it straight up just doesn't work, I have to let it last, so yeah. Alright, number 9. Greno DX. This is a weird one. So this thing does have a barrel port, but there's a long barrel. The problem is it's from the Royal Griffin DX set. I don't really know whether or not to count this thing, the long barrel, so if you want it there, this thing could potentially move up a spot or two, but again, I don't really know if it should count for Greno. Has the barrel port nonetheless. You also have the one-hand grip, but I kind of don't think it's the best thing for control types. But this one's just a really weird one to rank. I feel like this you could put anywhere between like 9th and 6th, and it makes sense. I'm just putting it at 9th because, again, I don't know if the barrel should count for Greno. Let's just get all the barrel bottlemen out of the way. Number 8 is, of course, Gyakrok. Sword barrel, horse barrel, and then also you have a little sight here, which is pretty nice. But yeah, very simple. 7. Lifeal Guardian DX, kind of the inverse. You have a barrel here, barrel port. You can add onto the barrel. Nice. Ears work as a sight, but they're probably the weakest sight of like the actual control type sights. And then number 6, Skull Pistol, actual barrel here. And also you do have a sight, which is decent enough. And because of that, I think this thing is the best of kind of the barrel-focused Bottlemen, so yeah. It might be kind of weird to put the barrel ones so low, but other things have barrel ports on the list, and also, well, there's just a lot of them. They're not as interesting, and well, barrels do help with accuracy. Here's the thing. Bottlemen are meant to shoot straight. They shoot straight. They aren't really things like, yeah, they can go off a little bit, you know, like not like all that off, but like, you know, they can curve slightly or whatever, depending on how you shoot, depending on the gimmicks, but like, in general, these things shoot straight. Like, it's not, like, yeah, the barrels are gonna help, but again, it's not like a crazy thing that, like, you need the extra accuracy. Like, yeah, it's nice, but I think other control types are more worthwhile. Number 5, Deca V Tiger G. I think that's like the head press gimmick where if you press down to increase the power, that's really not a control gimmick, but sure. Outside of that though, it is a vertical shooter, which, again, the power gimmick and like being a vertical shooter on paper is weird, but the main thing about this Bottleman is its cap, the vertical cap. It's perfectly double-sided, and that makes it roll straight. Like, it just straight up stands up. Like, you like roll it and stuff, it won't fall over. So being a vertical shooter was interesting, but the fact that it has a cap that's meant to just stay straight, I think, that makes a pretty good control gimmick right there, and that's why I'm putting it so high up. And not a lot to it, other than just, yeah, that's all you need to really know. Number 4, this is going to be a really weird one, but hear me out. Earth Roller DX. So first up, you have the barrel port. I think that's actually pretty important there. You can add barrels onto this thing. But also, has a little side-to-side gimmick. And you can debate about how well this works, but the fact that you can move around, take down different targets, I personally think this works well for a control gimmick, personally. I just think that, like, I mean, competitively, yeah, whatever, but, like, just as a control gimmick, just at a surface level, it gives you control, but in a bit of a unique way, effectively. And also, again, you have the barrel port if you want the barrel, so I actually think Earth Roller as control type, pretty interesting. Alright, number 3, this is a fun one. Premium Sapphire. Does anyone remember Premium Sapphire? I feel like a lot of people just forget about this thing. I'd argue it's like one of the most forgotten, but I'm definitely the most forgotten about Fusion for sure, but this thing actually has a speed core, which is interesting, but it's considered a control type. The only like is that it's just giant. You also technically have like rubber underneath here, I guess with the wheels it's like rubber, but it just stays planted and is very large. I think just having a large planted Bottleman, this is just gonna fall off. These arms just don't stand. Anyway, having a large planted Bottleman, I guess you have like a little bit of a sight here, slightly, but just a large planted Bottleman. It works. It just works. It's not a concept that needs to really be elaborated on. You get the idea. I just think that something like this that's very big and planted, it just works. And this arm is just not... Yeah, sure, anyway. Yeah, it's just nice. And I feel like, I guess even this, you can almost argue is a little bit barrel-like in here, which is very cool. Yeah, it just works as a nice Bottleman. And again, you could really only do something like this with Fusion, so I think it makes sense to also be pretty high up. Anyway, number 2, Sparking Knight. Sparking Knight, I mean, come on. This is one of the best, because you have a ring sight, so you can put it down, flip it up. This is by far the best sight in all of Bottleman. It just works. And also, the kind of rail trigger system, very unique actually, but the plastic piece goes on the back of the trigger, which connects into the foot part on this groove here. Triggers can kind of move around, as you can see, but this basically helps to reduce the movement. And slight movement like that can technically throw off shots, so just having something like that to reduce it by quite a bit actually will help with the accuracy. And having something like that, again, I feel like it kind of works similarly to a barrel in that sense, where, it helps with accuracy, but I feel like it kind of helps to correct, like, the root cause of some potential, not misfires, but, a little bit of, like, inaccuracies. I think this actually works very well, and again, you have a very nice sight. I think this thing just works really nicely as, again, a control type based on, well, the definition of a control type, so, yeah. Number 1, this is the most obvious thing ever, Aerosetter DX. This just isn't a contest. It is the best control type. While you can't really use it unless it's in the, it's stability mode, you do have a barrel port if you want it. Also, a sight, 3 modes, you have a grip, so you can, like, look around, shoot different ways. It kind of is like the CC land thing a little bit, with turning, but, like, not stupid. It's just a grip that makes way more sense. I'm not going to change the modes. I'm sure you've already seen Aerosetter before, and we're just going to be here a while if I change the modes. Anyway, I mean, barrel mode, it's not the best barrel, but, like, again, it's a barrel. Or you can just attach a barrel, and there's, like, the stabilizer mode, which, gives you more support. It kind of acts as, like, a premium Sapphire type thing. Not exactly, but still, like, in the sense of, just having a larger barrel and more, plastic touching the ground. You can also press down on kind of, like, these little grooves on it, like these parts when they're on the ground. You can, like, press down on them with your fingers. Why am I explaining this? This is, like, the dumbest explanation ever. Anyway. Like, yeah, I'm just saying that there's grooves for your fingers, though, but, it works well to press down on that. It's just, again, give you more force on the plastic to keep the thing down, and it actually works very well. Also, you can actually have multiple modes at once. You could, if you have, like, 3 of these things, you could do all the modes. You have, like, the barrel mode, the grip mode, the stabilize mode, just for fun. And it works pretty well. This thing can just do whatever it wants. It has different control gimmicks. You use all of them at once, or one of them, 2 of them, whatever. the sight. It's just a good control type, and that's all there is to it. Not only is it like I think one of the best control types just in general to use, but again, just within the definition of a control type, it works. And also you have different modes, which gives you control over how you use the Bottleman. That is getting a little bit too too stupid there, but it is something. I mean, it's true. So yeah, anyway. With that said, unsurprisingly, Aerosetter DX is the best control type in my opinion, based on the definition of a control type. So, there you go, that's my whole control type video. Next is the final part of this sort of mini-series, which is the multi-type episode. I'm going to say right now, I feel like I probably didn't need to do this video or the previous two. Honestly, I should have just done a discussion video on multi-types and called it a day. I feel like this video and again the previous two kind of were just stupid videos. I feel like I probably really did not need to make them, but well, I realized that after I did the speed type video and it'd be very awkward to skip control types, so I decided I'll just make this video for the hell of it. Why not? It can't be that harmful, so anyway. Yeah, again, this video, kind of dumb and unnecessary, but hey, the next video, though, for Bottleman will be the multi-type one, and that one will be actually interesting. I'm very excited to get into that one, so, yeah, anyway, that's all for now, so thanks for watching, and bye-bye.